David Crisafulli has been sworn in as Premier of Queensland. Let's go live to his first news conference.
We were also sworn into those interim roles, and it's important that we do that across all of those portfolios so that there can be that continuity of government in this state. I said that as part of a transition that we wanted to make sure that the wheels of government continues to turn, and this will enable that ahead of the swearing in of a cabinet. It is important for the public service that there is that stability. It's important for Queenslanders who have voted for change, that they can see that change unfold, that they can also see stability in the services that they need as Queenslanders. I said that we would get to work immediately, and we have done that. We've had productive days, and Jared and I worked into the night yesterday, and we were again there early this morning. A big focus is around the machinery of government changes, and we are putting a lot of effort with the Acting Director-General to make sure that we get that departmental mix right and the stability right. What we don't want to see is the constant changes to government departments that we have seen in recent years. That doesn't give the stability for the public service. It also creates a situation where there's no single point of accountability into the long term. And by keeping departments and making them as stable as possible, it will enable us to benchmark the success of the KPIs that we set. There's been multiple changes, for example, in youth justice over the years, multiple ministers, multiple directors general, and it's therefore very, very hard for the Queenslander to get a read on what's happening. We don't want that. We want accountability, and accountability means a single point of focus when it comes to the way that government works in this state. The first correspondence I will be sending as Premier will be going out in moments, and it will be to the public service. It's to assure them about the focus and the vision of the government. And I made some comments on election night about the importance when it comes to that stability. And I've spoken about the public service for a long time as opposition leader. But I guess speaking after an election is that real ground truth and that point of validity. I want the public service to know that if we are to get on top of the service delivery issues we have in Queensland, we need them. We need them to be to understand the cause that we all have to do better for Queenslanders, and I want them to be secure in their employment. I want them to be able to give fearless and frank advice. I want ministers who lead departments and give that advice, but it has to be free from political interference, free from that culture of entrenched fear which we heard through the Cold Rake review. And it's important that the public service know that and know that they are respected. There were some claims made during the election campaign which were unhelpful, but now on the other side of that election campaign, I'm able to call those claims out and, more importantly, explain to the public service the kind of vision we have to create the best homegrown public service in this country. Cabinet considerations are underway, and it's our intention to swear that cabinet in at the end of this week. And the reason why we would like to do that at the back end of this week is it will then give ministers the weekend to go to work ahead of a cabinet meeting next week. That's important. There will be a lot of work to do once we get those structures right, but it's important that ministers are able to get sworn in and get on with the job of administering that department. I will be issuing charter letters in the weeks ahead, which is a normal course of business. I did that as opposition leader, which is something I believe in, to make sure that there's timelines that people can be held accountable for the different targets they're set. But one of the things that every minister will have in their charter letter is a really clear guidance that I want them to leave 1 William Street and go out and speak to public servants right across the state. And I want Queenslanders to see them as well. That's really important. And of course, there's always going to be governing that needs to be done at the main building, but there's a lot of other public servants who work outside of there and a lot of other Queenslanders, and it's important that they get to see a minister take real, genuine interest in what they're doing, and to do that inside those other buildings. Finally, the responsibility of being Premier is not something I take lightly, and it's something that I want Queenslanders to know my focus is on them. The position of Premier gives me the ability to do the things that Queenslanders want to see, but ultimately it's about people. and we campaigned on the issues that people told us they wanted us focused on: youth crime, health, housing and cost of living. They remain our focus. That's going to be our big focus in this term of government, to make sure that people see improvement across those 4 issues. But our success at the election was built on the back of listening to people about those issues, and the responsibility of fixing those things is something we take very, very seriously.